In 1968, Pentagon engineer Ernie Fitzgerald blew the whistle on a massive corruption scandal. Sloppy spending had put the Pentagon $2 billion over budget. It turned out the Pentagon was knowingly buying shoddy, overpriced military aircraft from Lockheed Martin, just purposely bloating the bank accounts of the defense contractors with taxpayer money and delivering us bad planes. Fitzgerald not only became the patron saint of government whistleblowers, but the most hated person in the Air Force and the most hated man in the White House. President Nixon told aides, quote, "Get rid of the son of a bitch." And they got rid of him. So Fitzgerald sued Nixon, accusing him of retaliation. But in 1982, the Supreme Court ruled that the former president was entitled to absolute immunity from damages predicated on his official acts, setting a legal precedent that presidents cannot be charged with crimes for taking actions while performing their official duties. Today, a poll shows Donald Trump beating Joe Biden in Michigan by 12 points. Now, if polls like this hold, we're looking at one of the greatest landslides in American political history, which is why Democrats are desperate and are throwing a legal Hail Mary. Biden's prosecutor is asking the courts if he's allowed to charge Trump with a crime for challenging the election. The former president thought he'd show up to the hearing today. His defense team argued that the president commands the executive branch, and as chief executive officer, the Constitution empowers the president to execute and enforce the laws of the land. Now, after an unprecedented mail-in ballot election, where rules were loosened on the fly and where the CIA, FBI, and big tech colluded and deceived the American voter, Donald Trump had every right to exercise his power to enforce election law, pursue election fraud allegations, along with recounts and legal challenges. Biden's prosecutor, Jack Smith, is arguing that Donald Trump should die in prison for this. But if precedent is overturned and the Constitution's ignored, every president, once they leave office, is vulnerable to be indicted by their successor. Presidential warfare from one administration to the next will sink the republic. Donald Trump says Biden doesn't even realize what he's getting himself into.
It's the opening of a Pandora's box, and that's a very sad thing that's happened with this whole situation. When they talk about threat to democracy, that's your real threat to democracy. If I wasn't given immunity, then other presidents, when we talked about today, President Obama with the drone strikes, which were very bad, they were mistakes, terrible mistakes. You really can't put a president in that position.
Under the theory the Democrats are pushing, vacating presidential immunity, Barack Obama could be charged with murder for launching predator drone strikes against American citizens in Yemen. Donald Trump, if he's reelected, could charge Joe Biden with child trafficking based on what he's done at the border. Joe Biden could be charged with financial fraud for raiding the Treasury to bribe college kids. Joe Biden could be charged with cocaine possession because they found 0.5 grams in his house. Abe Lincoln could be charged with homicide for prosecuting the Civil War. Presidents cannot exercise their authority effectively while they're wondering if the next president's prosecutors will charge them. No one's talking about a president walking down the street and shooting someone dead in the head. That would be far outside a president's official acts. But Jack Smith is. Biden's prosecutor is claiming Trump could turn into a serial killer and shouldn't have blanket immunity if he goes full Charles Manson. And the Democrat-controlled 3-judge panel today played the assassination card. A Biden-appointed judge suggested Trump could direct the military to assassinate his rival. Listen.
Yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate.
All right, forget about all of that. Assassinating your political rival isn't within the bounds of your official presidential actions. You don't get elected and just start raping, kidnapping, and assassinating Americans like you have a get-out-of-jail-free card like Monopoly. And by the way, this Judge Pan is a plant. She's tied to the Kavanaugh and the Russia hoax. And she's in the same social circles as Merrick Garland. And once this reaches the Supreme Court, the circus is going to get shut down. But this wasn't the only time assassination was brought up today. 2 journalists were caught on a hot mic right outside of Trump's courthouse. Listen.
You know, the worst part is, even if he has his window open and he's hanging out of it, he'll be on the other side of the truck.
I mean, if he's driving, we've got a good shot.
Yeah, if he's driving with the front window open.
Yeah, or if it's a convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah. Like if he just pulls up by
like JFK. It's like a JFK, a Lincoln.
I think it's one side of the deal. No, it doesn't. Oh.
Maybe someone, just like they told JFK, you know what you should do? You should take a convertible. It's so nice out.
Now, to be fair, we don't know if they're talking about getting a camera shot, but even if they are, the JFK convertible line, just don't go there. I've said it before, Biden's lock-em-up strategy puts Trump downtown among tall buildings on specific calendar days, over and over and over again, in New York, D.C., and Atlanta. Every day, another twisted scheme pops up when the left realizes it's losing. After the mug-shotting and the ballot stripping, Democrats are cooking up a new Stop Trump strategy. You ready? Straitjacket.
When Americans are talking about Donald Trump, Democrats win. And as Donald Trump goes into this election and he says crazier things every day, and they're getting crazier, Donald Trump's numbers likely will go down again.
Joe, you would hope so. You would hope that insane rantings that sound like someone should not be in power, rather they should be in a straitjacket and given some kind of injection.
So the schizophrenic people pushing people into the subway, don't you dare institutionalize them. They have rights. But the cagey tycoon who's beating Biden by 12 in Michigan, stuff him in an insane asylum and stick him with a tranquilizer.